Hello, we're back. I suppose. What the hell happened there? Not a clue. Now J-Max away. Literally spent the start of this episode telling everybody how we used to encounter technical issues, and on our 100th episode, we encounter an issue. And there he is. There he is.
Normally, if there's any kind of issue with this podcast, it was me that caused.
Mate, what was that? I mean, we're back. We're back live. I'm just going to have to kind of share out the... What a kerfuffle. What a kerfuffle. We're back. We're back. I'm going to have to reshare that because God knows what happened there. Just kind of cut out.
Very, very strange.
Aye. Well, I think our audience are returning. If you're joining us again, apologies. No idea what happened. The gods are out to get us, man. Gods are out to get us.
So welcome to the 101st episode of the Jibber Jabber podcast.
Exactly. So again, if you're joining us, apologies for that. No idea what happened. My computer died, and then I came back in. The show ended. It's like the Almighties are.
It's the BBC, mate.
Heather Dow says, "Well, you're back. Thanks, Heather. If you could just share this among your peers and get our audience back up there, that kind of gutting."
That would be smashing.
Aye. So we were talking a little bit about the naysayers. Don't listen to the naysayers. And anybody that's ever done anything in life, they started crap, they got better, and they had a ton of naysayers, and that's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But I don't think the cool thing about me is when someone's like, you can't do this, or you know, who do you think you are? I'm just like, motherfucker, you get one chance at life, right? You really think I'm going to be the schmo, that the person that goes to work, comes home, watches TV, goes to bed, wakes up, does it all again? Now, if you're that kind of person, then fine. If that works for you, more power to you. But it doesn't work for me.
That's what I do, but twice a week I happen to do this as well.
I just don't understand that, man. I don't understand that. I wake up really hungry every day to create something, to do something, just to have something and go. And at the end of the night, like, even when it's just like stuff that I do with your sister, we'll send stuff back and forth, and I'm like, oh, that looks great.
That sounds like a different podcast.
No, it's like artwork and stuff.
This week, on stuff I do with your sister.
Break of the leg. So we basically created the Jibber Jabber podcast, and I initially said to you, J-Mac, I've reached out to a convention company, and at the time it was Glasgow Film and Comic Con, right? And as I ran past you all these kind of ideas that I wanted us to do with this show, you were like, okay. I could tell that you were taking in what I was saying, but you didn't believe that any of this kind of stuff could happen, or at least that it would happen. And then I think it was like a week after I phoned you, and I'm like, mate, we've got press passes to go to Glasgow Film Comic Con. Look at all these cool folk we can go meet, right? And what we're going to do now, actually, is we'll start at Glasgow Film and Comic Con. I had it all ready, but my computer's just completely smashed us, so I'm going to get it back up. We'll go back to the Glasgow Film and Comic Con. This was our very first convention. J-Mac, maybe while I'm getting this ready, you tell the audience how I approached you to do this.
I think you basically, my memory's terrible, but it was very much a, listen, man, I've kind of made it to the showmasters. I think that was who's in charge of the Glasgow Film and Comic Con.
It was.
So I've kind of made it to them that we're a wee bit bigger than we are, to try and get some press passes. I think you actually classed us as a very successful podcast when we had like 6 followers. You've got to admire your balls, man. Not all like to me, sending out that email or that letter would have been like a rejection waiting to happen, and I'm not a big fan of rejection, so I probably wouldn't have done it anyway. I think that's why you get this to go places where I can't. The one thing I'm good at is writing to people to ask them to maybe come on the show. It's the one thing that I can do pretty well. You're the ideas man.
Well,
occasionally I'll come up with a cracker, but it's quite rare. Most of the time, this is what happens. Normally, when I come up with an idea, Kevin will go, I know that it's pish.
It's not that it's pish. It just means I'm trying to.
This, if it's a good one, he goes, aye. And if it's bad, he goes, He'll never, but he's too nice just to say, no, that's fucking rubbish.
It's not that. Hi, Kate. Thanks. Kate's kind of relating to us going down and coming back up. So it's not that the ideas are terrible. It's just sometimes when you give an idea, I try to picture it and I go, right, how would this work? How could we make this work? Where would it go? And if I can't answer all them, I go, and you see me trying to put the dots together. And at that point, you're like, it's lost. It's gone.
Yeah, so if you don't jump on it right away, I know it's never going to be what I set out for it to be.
Your sister says, ha ha ha, I've been at the receiving end of that too, J-Mac.
Right? Yep, it's something he's very good at. I mean, it's the face as well. He looks up at the sky and goes, no. No. Mate, I will take any idea. If we can make it work, I'm always up for seeing it. And if it comes crashing down, then that's funny as well. So we'll go for that. Heather, by the way, for everybody at home, Heather has designed some amazing t-shirts for us. She's been working with us behind the scenes. You know, she's the people that we connect you with now, you get me? But she's been working her ass off. And I just want to show you a couple of these cool t-shirts that you can purchase. If you go to www.jibberjabberstore.co.uk, you can get the normal Jibber Jabber hoodie and t-shirt, etc., and all that cool stuff, interchanging with the colours. Or if you fancy something a bit more up your own street, you can get these really cool, like almost parody of movies. There's Jibber Jabber, Back to the Future, Lost Boys, and the Jurassic Park t-shirt. You can get all these cool things. The Jurassic Park one was one of my better ideas.
It was. And you never even pitched it to her. You didn't even pitch it to her. Because, mate, you came up with it after our last show, right? And then I was like, make sure you tell her that then. And you're like, I'll tell her right now. And then I went to her after the show. I was like, Jordan came up with a good idea. Did you manage to get working on that? He's like, what are you on about? The Jurassic Park thing. She's like, never said nothing to me. I was like, what?
And this is why you're the reason that this money actually makes money.
I took your idea and had it made for this show through Heather. I mean, look at that. Look at that. But that's class. I'm actually ordering one myself, so it'll be quite cool. So what we're going to do here is we're going to go to the very first Glasgow Film and Comic Con. Hey, how cool it would be if we get a copyright strike against ourselves, because this stuff's now monetized. Like if we start playing our own content live on our show. Probably no, but that's how YouTube works. It's funny. So I'm going to actually bring up the first ever, and to kind of create context here. So contacted the Showmasters company, right? And it's fine that we can say this now because we're kind of a big deal now that they'll want us to come back now again. Kind of kidding. like put it this way.
Not kidding at all.
Where Showmasters are at right now, when we show up at their events, we're the most known folk. I'm just kidding.
We're never doing anything with them again.
We haven't. It's because there's nobody there. Nah, I'm kidding. Hey, Showmasters are good too, right? Just Monopoly are knocking out of the park.
Look who we've got this year, folks. We've got the guy that played a cereal box.
We've got somebody for Game of Thrones. It's like, I don't recognize him. He was in one episode. He
played a dead body 15 feet back in the crowd.
If anyone from Showmasters is watching this, which you're not, right? Sorry. This is us. We just have a bit of a laugh, right? It's nothing personal. I mean, we joke most of this one. No, but hey, we're about to rip ourselves our very own one. So it really,
that's very true.
Like,
very
there's
true.
nothing that we can really say that's
saying that
to you.
I did meet my first ever crush through Showmasters, so I can't. And big Clive Russell. So
mate. Well, so here's how this kind of worked. We were like 3 episodes in, 6 followers, if that. Most of them well knew. In fact, we knew every single one, and they're all family members.
I was 3 of them, I think.
Right. So I had like 6 followers, and I'm like, that's right. Well, I'm like, how do you begin? How do you get your foot in the door? It's not through building an audience straight up, because that takes years. And part of building that audience is doing cool stuff like that. So I was like, I'm just going to have to not blag it, but word it a certain way that leaves it to the imagination, their imagination. So I was like, hello, we are a podcast, we are Scottish and we'll be in the area. And I'm like, I think our audience would love to hear from these people that are at your convention. It'd be really cool if we came and, we did a really cool video. We are a growing podcast and our audience really would love it if this could happen, etc., etc. To the point where I was like, well, if they came back and said, right, how much audience have you got? I'd have been like, 3, right? But they didn't. They didn't, because I worded it in such a way that they were like, okay, let's give these guys a shot. So they sent us out some press passes. I phoned you.
For which we are eternally grateful.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if they want us back, hey, we'll go do it. Absolutely. As long as Monopoly are all right with it. And it's a phone call. It's a phone call. So I was kind of like, okay, we'll show up. Here's what we'll do. We'll do this, that, and the next thing. So we got together with a guy called Alex, who, I mean, I'm not going to bury him, right? But it was a piece of dung, and I would say the word, but I didn't want to get demonetized, right? Because making money is quite good. Isn't that right, Alex? This was a guy that we got together with to do the job that basically Seb does, but a million times better. And we got together with him. We were like, here. He was an aspiring video editor. We were aspiring podcasters. He made no money doing any of that. We made no money doing that. We were on the same level, right, of what we were trying to establish. And I kind of approached him and was like, look, you could probably do the video end of what we're trying to do here at the conventions. If you do that, we'll grow together. The experiences themselves. I mean, we done 2 conventions with him, one which you're about to see, and then we done the first Monopoly one down in Manchester. The amount of experience he had, I mean, this guy loves to play D&D and stuff, and we introduced him to the cast of Stranger Things, right? And even the guy was like, I kind of bridged a wee gap there and was like, the guy from Stranger Things, Lucas, what's his surname? He plays Lucas. No, Lucas. He plays Lucas in the show. I can't remember his real name. Anyway, he was like, I've never learned Dead by Daylight. I've never learned Dungeons and Dragons. I know my character plays it in the show, but I would really like to learn how to play it in real life. I'm like, well, my cameraman here actually can teach you because he's like a master at it. And he kind of shied away from it, but that could have been an opportunity for him. The amount of opportunities we got for that guy, the amount of stuff that we'd done for him, right? And then he comes along and he has like a half-assed attitude. We're like, here, this would be great. Let's do this. Let's do this. This the kind of stuff that Seb comes to us. We don't need to say to Seb, this would be cool. He sees an opportunity and he pulls us over, right?
See what you do when I've got a bad idea. He did that when you had a good idea.
No, he was just like, no, just running about angry face all day wanting to look at cosplayers. So we knew straight up, we knew that it was like, not going to work here. This isn't going to work in the long term, but we'll kind of just ride with it now and see how it goes. And then we kind of realized that his heart wasn't in it when, we'd finished the convention, and it was like 4 weeks later that the footage was put together. Now that I do a majority of not majority, but I do a lot of the editing for what we kind of do on this show. And I realized, well, wait a minute, you can do it. You can absolutely do it. I do it weekly, so this guy could do it. And it kind of went sour because we'd done another convention. We'd done like 2-3 days worth of work, and he put together like a 3-minute video. I was like, all that footage, and he's got 3 minutes. I said, it looks very generic. It's not set out to do what we want to do. I was like, maybe if you could just send us the footage and we'll do it. And he was like, no, it's my footage. You can buy it off me. At that point, I had to threaten to go to his house and kick his ass.
Ever the diplomat or Kevin? Oh, your footage, is it?
So we it's safe to say at that point we parted ways, and I think I only seen him once after that. Now bear in mind, this was after our work went down, and I took vouchers that was given to us to give to him. I took food to his house and made sure we had stuff to eat because he just lost his job. I took bags and bags of food to him to make sure he was all right for Christmas time, and he repays us by basically shitting on us. So at that point, like, the line was drawn, no more pieces of shit. And then for some reason, it never clicked because we were like, we need to keep the ball going. And we put an advert out, would you like to get involved? And Seb, who we'd always been mates with, and is a big part of our show, you don't see him on camera. It's funny. The one that looks like Arnie and is chiseled like a god doesn't want to be on camera, right? Right. And so what happened was Seb came on board, and we've never looked back, and there's more stuff in the works, which we'll get into later. But Seb came on board, and we stepped the game up, didn't we?
Yeah, absolutely. Everything just started to. It felt like more of a kind of effortless task to do things. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't as much an uphill struggle to get things done, and it would just listen to every idea. You could give him the worst idea in the world, and he would try and make it better. You know. So having Seb on board's been a really good step up.
Our team's kind of just grown. I don't think he's watching, mate. He'll be sleeping, or working, because that's all he does: sleep and work. We're pushing forward, and now we're sitting with a production company and all that cool stuff, which we'll get into a wee bit later. We'll kind of try and give you the abridged version of it. So I'm now going to share my screen with you guys, and we're going to go through our original.
This will be interesting.
We're going to go through literally how it all began for us.
It's only just begun.
Oh, look at this, man. Look at this.
Oh, he's so young. Look at him.
Look at this, right?
Look at all that hair.
So we'll play it, mate. It actually looks shorter there than it does now, because I'd had it cut. Right. So as you can see, we're in, was it Braehead Arena? And this is the night that we met the Night King and all these cool people. And Zoe from EastEnders was like, I don't know what to talk to them. I'm like, oh no, Zoe from EastEnders said no. I'll just go and talk to the Night King then, shall I? Right, here we go. So this is our very first convention, and it's nice to watch, but as always, as perfectionists as we are, JMac, we look at it, we learn, we move forward, and you'll see us progressively getting better. Yeah. So here we go.
Can't hear it. Can't hear it. You must have forgot to do that audio share thing.
No, I definitely did. I did. Share. So you never heard that there, no?
Could hear like.
Ah. And now look at that, Kevin Wells.
Glasgow Film and
Right. So you even hear what I said there. Kevin Whatever. This is how old that was. We hadn't even established the Jibber Jabber podcast. Listen to this.
The Kevin Whatever podcast, brought to you by Enter the Man Cave.
Enter the Man Cave. Which is what we tried to establish. This was going to be our show, but there was too many moving parts. It didn't work. Like I says, you don't start off great. You always start off crap. You find what works. You go forward. Rinse and repeat.
Here today at Glasgow Film and Comic Con, and I brought a special friend with me.
See, at this point, it was just all about me. I brought a special friend with me. And I introduced you here like everyone knew who you were. Like even anyone knows who I am. Here we go.
How you doing, guys?
Is that all we quick?
The Showmasters for hooking us up with some press passes, which we'll be making good use of. Hopefully, get a few interviews with some of the stars.
Nice shot.
Yeah, let's go.
Schön.
I'm going to need another drink to get through this.
So plenty of vendor stuff, as you can see. Those are like the highlights of comic conventions. You really want to go and check out these people that have their own workshops at home, and they make like really cool pop culture stuff. That's the kind of thing that you need a lot. That's why you need tons of money when you go to a convention. You really do.
Yeah.
So here we go.
So far, it's insane. See the amount of talent that people have, and they can showcase at a place like Comic Con.
Yeah, but the detail on some of the
Cameras
handmade.
out of focus, Alex.
Yeah, I know, Alex. And also, the audio wasn't terrible for what that was, but now we've totally upped our game. Totally.
There's original movie posters over here. I'll be coming back to have a look at them later.
There's a project down there. A guy took 4 years to build Giant Predator by hand, from memory.
I'm
Jimmy
sure
Savile.
there's more to see, so we'll flash on and see what else we can find.
That guy was class.
He was
We've
awesome.
seen them at. Yeah, we've seen them at.
Blank pages of all the writing.
Do you remember?
The
Do you remember what happened with this guy?
Yeah, that guy we thought was Van Helsing, and turned out he wasn't. But he's, I mean, he'd done this whole book, like he'd written out, kind of done sketches and written out this kind of really kind of old timey scripts throughout this book, and he'd sat and done it. Must have taken him days to do that, just for the sake of this costume that he's probably only worn once at a convention and twice in the bedroom.
The funny thing is though, I came up to you and I was like, was he meant to be Van Helsing? You're aye, Van Helsing. All right, cool. And I walked up to him, I'm like, mate, you meant to be Van Helsing? He's like, no, I'm actually the Wizard of Wabba 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 Wabba. And then I'm like that. Tell you it wasn't Van Helsing. To you.
There's the bus coming, and there's me right under it again.
Every time. I found him not to be very social, so we're going to skip past this part because it was pish. Right, here we go. This is when you buy your wee t-shirt. Look at that. Look at this.
That's a creepy thing. I don't like that.
This is why you don't wear white shirts to conventions or anywhere where you're going to be on camera. So we're going to pop back in. Sorry, just so you know what this is. This is sauce from Subway sandwich. I think that's hot chili sauce and tomato sauce mixed together, because the pizziola chicken, awesome. Not good for.
Mate, at what point
look at that. What have you paused that at? For fuck's sake.
Mate, what was it? I don't know if everybody actually
change, pal.
did. Everyone ask for what you had? You're like, I think it was a wee bit of ketchup mixed in with a wee bit of sriracha. What the hell, man? That's class.
Wow.
And by the way, this isn't the only time you'll see J-Mac in a facially awkward position on this show the day. I'll tell you, it's coming right up soon. So let's
white shirts. Going to go back in here. I'll buy myself a nice, ridiculous t-shirt to wear for the rest of the day.
It was really wee.
So it's always good to know that if you have any needs, you know, like t-shirts or any clothing wear, Comic-Con's got you sorted.
That's right, by the way, Sarah did take me on my first con. It was a long time ago, but that's where I met the one and only Freddy Krueger.
Oh man, that's
so
amazing.
I've always got fond memories of that. That guy was sound. He was cool. I remember I asked if I could get a photo with him. Like hadn't paid for it, and he was like, yeah, no problem. And his handler's like, yeah, you really shouldn't be doing that, Robert. And he's like, fuck you, I'm taking a picture. I'm like, yeah,
that's amazing, man.
He just wrapped his hands around my neck. He's like, ah!
That's
And
bloody
yeah,
brilliant.
it was cool. Still got that picture somewhere.
You need to get it. We'll bring it up. At this point here, I don't know why I said what I just said. You know, it's really cool to know that, you know, if you need t-shirts, Comic-Con's got you sorted. That was us just trying to literally put, I mean, a lot of the stuff we're saying in here is just filler. There was a point where we were walking about and Alex was like, talk to the camera. I'm like, what
Don't know what to say. What do you say?
Right. Well, now I feel like when we go to a convention, the minute we get the camera set up and we get mic'd up, that is it. We're off.
I mean, I don't know. Are you going to talk about the Buffy impersonator at some point?
Oh, aye. That was this.
No, it was Edinburgh Comic Con, but we'll talk about it later.
Yeah, we'll get to that, mate.
I've still got that T-shirt. Still got it.
Were you not actually raging that they'd put the scratch a wee bit?
It is slightly offset. You can't tell there, but you can tell. You can tell when you're looking at it.
That's why you need Heather to be doing the t-shirts.
So mission success.
Yeah, that's actually quite a nice t-shirt.
Can't he walk out of a toilet and say mission success? What am I doing in there?
Those were really cool. The wee prop guns.
You're trying to find the bit.
No. You see, I actually had to just skip over the cosplay masquerade because YouTube will pull this video because of the songs that are in it. Right.
Of course.
So I had to, and if you're
Thanks,
watching,
YouTube,
or
for being
listening,
so forgiving.
forgive me, please. Please just forgive me. If you are listening to this in the archives on Spotify, you really should go to YouTube and watch this because this is more of a visual episode. But if you are enjoying it at home listening to it, then class, man. Really cool thing though is if you're also watching this and what we're talking about is just completely skipped past it because I had to remove it for copyright reasons. So head to our Facebook or our Twitch because you can watch the full thing there. They're a little bit more forgiving unless you've got a cupboard full of mugs. Can't be having that. So here we go. A wee bit of a roundup of what that day was like.
So throughout everything that you've seen, what are the highlights from what you've gone around so far? Talking to people, stalls, what?
Yeah, I mean, we've spoken to a couple of the famous people so far. We spoke to Jimmy V, and we spoke to
He was cool.
Lionheart, who's the wrestler. Kev knows more about that shit than me. Jimmy V, he was sound.
Lionheart, fantastic, good guy. Again, wrestlers have an aura of being, uptight, quite confrontational, but Lionheart was sound as a pound. I think today in Comic-Con, Glasgow Film and Comic-Con,
Did I draw that beard on that morning?
vendors here.
Hey,
Did I draw my beard on that morning?
it's like a nan.
They're really willing to let us shoot, and they're obliging. So hopefully we can get a bit more.
A lot of the handmade merchandise is really, really cool.
There's so much talent, even just from the vendors.
I think the problem is we've not managed to actually get to speak to some of the people we want to speak to yet because they're so busy and very popular. So hopefully the next hour or two we may actually get to speak to somebody.
Jordan wants to speak to his first crush, Caroline Munro from James Bond.
Nah, that's not where my crush is from, man. My crush is from a little known film with Doug McClure and Peter Cushing.
Look at that face!
I bit my cheek. I bit my cheek.
Look at that face! You bit your cheek and I'm biting my lip, man. I still do that. Look at
That
that.
doesn't even look like me. Like if you were to show a pic, like just take that picture to somebody that knows me and say, "Who's that?" You'd be like, I don't know.
Look at
That's
that
like remember the bit in Inner Space where he changes to the cowboy?
No. Look at that,
You
man.
need to watch Inner Space again.
Oh,
But
no.
aye, that's not a flattering look, man. I look about 68.
I remember you sent me that. I was like, I bit my tongue.
It was my cheek. It was definitely my
Oh,
cheek. The inside of my
man.
cheek that a bit. Aye.
Believe it or not, but that is not the worst thing you'll see on these videos, right?
Really? Wow.
And it's called At the Earth's Core.
I really want to interview the Night King.
There he is.
Vladimir. He looks like such a cool guy, and Ken.
No, that was a top-notch interview.
Mate, it was my first interview. At least I had the pause.
So, hi, Vladimir. It's quite nice here, isn't it? It's no too hot.
Don't worry, we're going to get onto that. We're going to get onto that, right? Because I think that pretty much is everything from there, really. Because that's just us saying thank you. If you do want to go and watch any of these, go ahead and you can find them on our YouTube.
Really nice.
I've got this thing about biting my lip. Look, I keep.
It's
I
like-
keep.
It's like you're expecting me to say something that's going to get us in trouble.
Right, so wee bit of context here, okay? Vladimir Furdik, he is the Night King from Game of Thrones. Not only the Night King, but he basically is the stunt coordinator for everything you've seen. So all those battles you saw in Game of Thrones, he's the head honcho. He's the guy that makes it work. Here, look, we're endorsed by GoDaddy. Let's get this wee ad out of the way. Look, that's actually making us money right now. Let's leave that ad running. That's making us money. So our
It's
first
a good 1/100th of a pence right there.
hmm the very first interview that I kind of done was with Vladimir Furdik, who is the Night King. And it was really cool because when I looked right into that guy's eyes, I could see the Night King. And I'm a huge Game of Thrones fan. So for me, it was a big deal. Remember how at the start I said, you know, we're quite our audience and all that. And we gave it all the part, and we're 3 episodes in. That was us, brand new at podcasting, interviews, everything. So we had to kind of get over the whole, oh my god, we're doing this kind of thing. We had to get over the fact that we were just winging it and walking up to these actors like bigwigs,
pretending we had a clue. The funniest thing though was the fact that Vladimir Furdik. Now I don't know if you can tell by his name, but the guy's native tongue is not English, right? But he, we spoke to him before it, and he was like, what are you going to talk about? Because my English is not so good. I have to think.
I was like, oh, great.
What to say?
Great.
And you were like, oh, we're just going to talk about this and that and this and that, and never mentioned a fucking thing.
I was on the spot, right? Because I'd always seen this, right? Have you ever seen those interviews where, like, a wee interviewer on TMZ will be speaking to someone like Samuel L. Jackson, and then they go to their notes, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, oh, he has notes. He has notes, right? So I wanted to be like, nah, if we're doing this, we're going in cold turkey, and we'll just be crap and get better. That's how things work.
We're going in cold turkey. You made up another phrase again, man. Cold turkey is when you stop doing something suddenly.
Right, taking notes. We're going in with
Don't even try. Don't even try. No. But you can't go into something cold turkey. It doesn't work that way.
Well, what happens if you go cold turkey and then you go in somewhere?
What?
What happens if you're like, well, that's me cold turkey now, and then you go in?
I'm going to click on the leave studio, man.
We've had enough of that tonight. So for me, I was like, right, I don't want to be that guy that rocks up looking all unprofessional with his notes, right? And I didn't have notes, but I knew that I loved the show. And it kind of threw me a bit when he was like, what are you going to talk about? Because I don't know English. So I was like, right, I need to protect this guy here. Now, I had a background in wrestling. And in wrestling, it's your job to make sure your opponent doesn't look weak. It's your job to make sure they look amazing. Otherwise, what are you going up against? If you make them, if they're not great at something, you hide that. Yeah. There's one point which, and as bad as this interview was, and if I had done it now, it'd be so much better. But hey, this was like the first one I ever done. We're like 3 episodes into our podcast. I'm allowed to be crap. Give me that, please. Right. At least I had the balls to do it. You were like, oh, I don't know Game of Thrones. I'm just going to sit up there and stare at you.
I genuinely didn't. Like, I hadn't seen Game of Thrones at that point. So it'd be like if you'd never heard of, I don't know, The Terminator, and you had to go and interview Arnold Schwarzenegger. You know, not
so much Arnold Schwarzenegger, more Linda Hamilton, because she's only really
aye.
Yeah, Linda Hamilton, right? Because with Terminator,
sorry, I was trying to go cold turkey there.
That's fine, mate. I understand. So I went in here and I'm like, okay, you know how you set up to do it, and you're like, everything's going to be class, it's going to be great, and then it goes go time, and you're like, oh,
and your heart just falls out your ass.
So I was kind of like, and I just kind of referred back to what someone had already said about, it's actually no hot up there, and for some reason I start talking about the weather. Not the weather, but the temperature where he was, and he's like, all right, cool, right? And then we go on to talk a little bit, and there's one point where I actually protect him and watch out for it. It's the part where he goes like, I ask him if he'd like to see like an origin kind of story of the Night King, and he's talking about, like I can't remember what it was, but he completely didn't get what I was saying, and instead he gone, no, you're wrong. What I asked was this.
That's not what I meant, you prick.
I just went along with what he did in that regards to, one, kind of mask the fact that there was a bit of a language barrier, and 2, because I did not want to make him look like an idiot. I had the best time speaking to him. He was such an absolute treasure of a guy, and I hope that one day I can speak to him, again, and do an absolute belter of an interview, because I know that I can do that now. But then obviously I was just a young pup. So, and in the podcasting world, still am, but that right here was like, I was just born. We were born that day, mate. We were born. So I'm going to play this, and it's quite cringy, but
nearly 3 years ago.
And I'm not afraid of failure. I'm not afraid of you guys laughing at it. It is what it is. All right. I was pish. Right. and it is what it is. So let's see my interview with the great Vladimir Furdik. Oh, I've muted it. Here we go.
Furdik, you might know him as the Night King in Game of Thrones. How are you in Glasgow Film and Comic Con today?
Yeah, I like it. So it's very nice, beautiful day, and nice people. So I like it.
It's quite a good day actually. Up here doesn't seem to be too warm. Seems to be quite nice.
Yeah.
I hear that Big Ennis up there told us that down there. Another Comic Con.
Big Ennis, like he knows what the fuck that is.
I forgot you done that.
Like he's like from Slovakia, right?
Look at his face.
Look at his face. Big Ennis.
It's like,
I'm like,
what the fuck are you talking about?
Big Ennis. Like first off, it's Clive Russell, right? And I'm talking about his character from Still Game, something he will have never seen. And I'm like, Big Ennis up there, and he's like, I've read everyone's sign. No one here is called Big Ennis.
Do you know what? I love the idea that after that he's thought to himself, and it's been on his mind for weeks. What is Big Guinness? Big Guinness. And he went home and he's watched all the game. He's watched all the Still Game, right? And then the next time you interview him, you'll say, "How you doing, Vladimir?" And he'll go, "Hello, you wee funny."
I know who Big Ennis is. mate, he's like, look at his eyes. Look at his eyes. It's like, who the fuck is Big Ennis? I want Big Ennis up there. Big Ennis. Just let that process for a second. Big Ennis.
Say beginners. This is your first time, or
so
you beginner?
I really shouldn't have said Big Ennis. I should have said Clive Russell, because he could at least read the sign above Clive's head. But it's Big Ennis, right?
Big Ennis was saying it was roasting, Ken.
Like what? What?
This is not going to work as an audio podcast.
Crowd and stuff.
It doesn't. You really need to watch it via YouTube.
Be quite a temperature.
Just let it play. Let it play.
I'm gonna go back. Quite a temperature, eh? There we go. Back again.
Be quite a temperature. Well, I was going to ask you, how does it feel to be one of the most recognisable characters from one of the biggest TV shows, but you still walk the street?
I can walk. This is good because I have a mask, so people cannot recognize me. Sometimes somebody on the street, they stop me and they ask me, or they would like to have a picture with me, but it's good. For me, it's good I am behind the mask, or I have a mask on me, so...
I'm trying to be Spielberg with the fucking camera as well, just for added fun.
6 hours to get all the makeup on?
It's 5.
Yeah, I'll just walk about, zoom in every now and again.
7 or 8 pieces, what they put together.
Look at that face, though, man. That's the guy you see staring right at Jon Snow, innit? Look at him. That's just a work of art, man.
And also my arm. So 5.
Now who's talking shite, Vlad? Right? A wee bit of ownership there, Vlad.
6 hours on, 1 hour off.
How do you mentally cope with sitting for that amount of time? Do you have something to read, or
No, really.
just getting a
Hitting it with all the bangers, man. Hitting it with all the bangers.
character?
I just speak. I just watching the.
Read the Beano.
Speaking with people who always how
The Beano.
to sleep, you know.
Right. Oh, that's good.
So it's. Yeah, actually,
You just don't know where you're going to go next. It's so funny.
I'm like, that's good. That's fantastic.
You can tell, you're not even looking at him. You're like, what the fuck, man?
Look at the worry on that face, man. I'm like, there's my 2 questions done. Where am I gone?
It's like you forgot you're holding the microphone. You're like, is this an ice cream or?
time going very quick.
Yeah. Well, you see, I was watching Game of Thrones, obviously, and we got to see you for the first time without the makeup.
Is it just me, or does my voice also sound very tinny there as well?
It's the microphone, man. That's like a
that what it
20
is?
quid mic. Aye.
Hmm.
It's a POS. Piece of shit.
Strapped to the tree, becoming the Night King.
Yes.
How did you find from playing the Night King to playing who, the character that it becomes the Night King that we don't know that much about yet?
Actually, before when I did this part of this show, I really don't know what is this for,
Yeah.
So nobody told me because it was so secret, And when I saw the show, then I realized, maybe it's possibly this is the first White Walker or first Night King, So
Yeah.
nobody say exactly who is.
Well, obviously, I know you can't give us anything, so I won't expect anything. But there's a fan theory.
Big issue there, right? One thing that I've learned, but I'll never do again, is I put in I should have just said, "What can you tell us about the new series?" Instead, I cut myself off because I knew that he wouldn't tell us anything because he can't, and I just said, I know you can't, so we'll just skip over that. I should have asked him, "What can you? If you can't tell us anything, what can you tell us? Tell us something, just to get something, right? Valuable." And I didn't. I cut myself off. But hey, like I says, it's just a wee duckling there, and I learn a lot. So it's good to go back and watch.
It's a sparkly earring, by the way.
Maybe Brandon Stark, and that everything alludes to Brandon Stark. With the Hodor stuff. I know you can't go into that much, but with the new series, would you say there's going to be a lot more? It'll be heavier this next series of the Night King. More than what has.
So far in how we interview people, man. It's fucking amazing.
I'm answering my own questions.
Yep.
The last.
You mean a prequel?
Well, that would be fantastic.
Oh, you mean you are speaking about the?
There's you saving him.
Would you think that'd be a great idea?
It's like there's you saving him after you dangled him off a cliff.
Yes.
Well done.
I say yes. It's going to be very expensive. Either very expensive.
Well, unless you stay.
No, because of me,
Right.
I want the money. I mean, if they would like to make so many White Walkers or army of the White Walkers, you know how much money cost the mask?
Yeah.
How many people doing this?
Well, they could actually go back to like an origin story where you just play you,
Yeah, they can go back.
and then you become that.
Yes.
So it's expensive towards the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But let's see what they want. What they want to. At the moment, I am not really. Don't try to catch the point. What they want.
Yeah.
I just
Deliver.
wait. Actually, I'm not waiting.
Stop answering his questions, Kevin. Stop putting words in his mouth. Shut up! Let him speak.
Because I have other jobs. So
Yeah.
if they want me, I will go. If not, I have.
I mean, you don't normally like to talk,
Strange.
Kevin. So you don't normally like to talk. So I'm finding this really strange.
I feel so. I feel very
Humble?
confused.
Yeah.
I mean,
Humble? Confused.
Do we need to watch the rest of this, or can we just
No.
move on?
I feel very humble. No, confused. I couldn't have been so more wrong.
Oh man, that's funny.
The ratio here from likes and dislikes are vast, but some of this stuff, some of the comments, not all of them are bad, but lol, the Night King a cowboy because he wants to make cowboy movies. He looks like Daniel Craig. I don't trust that man. Don't fool yourself with. Oh, I thought there was far more negativity in the comments.
There was definitely at some point some disparaging comments about the interviewer. Like I do remember that, and you just replied like, "Mate, it's my first time. Give us a fucking break."
How many Night Kings did you interview on your first time? I don't think any other interview really was. There's not really much to go into in regards.
I would say that it's worth mentioning the Lionheart interview.
Yeah, of course, Lionheart, one of the first people we interviewed. Very gracious to give us his time.
I think he was actually the very first.
Yeah.
If you mute that now. But I think he was the very first interview we did that day. But you were more in your comfort zone with him, I think, than you were even with Vlad, because you knew wrestling. I didn't, so I was like, Kev, you take this one. And
How you doing today, Matt?
it's sad the guy is no longer with us, so it's nice to have that memory.
Yeah, for sure. The guy was never knew him personally, but I followed his career. He worked in the same companies as me when I was in wrestling. He was really even then revered as like one of the best in British wrestling. As you see, he's all over it, man. It's a shame. It's a shame that he's no longer with us. But hey, at least I mean this is one of the cool things about doing a podcast and doing this podcast is the amount of amazing people we've got to meet through this. The guests. Like I'll stop the sharing for a second here, and we'll kind of just talk about that. When we first started, it was kind of a weekly thing where we would chat together about movies, about what we've been up to. We'd have people on, but we weren't really a guest show. And as much as we aren't a guest show, we have a lot of guests on. The conundrum. And if you look over this last year, we've really upped the game with guests. We've had a lot of people on. A lot of them aren't people that are like A-list celebrities, but I find that why would you want an A-list celebrity when you can have people that have got more of a real story? I find, and especially recently, I find that the creme de la creme of Hollywood are all just spineless and very hypocritical and pish.
I think, they've all got a line that they need to toe when they're talking. Whereas when you talk to the kind of B and C and even Z list celebrities, you get more of a true story. And saying that though, Kevin did convince me quite recently that The Rock was going to come on the podcast, and I'm so embarrassed. He basically managed to. He told me that he'd won a competition through Sky TV to have a video call with The Rock, and I'm like, man, that's cool. And then he sent me a screenshot of him talking. So it's him in the corner. And The Rock like doing his, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, that's amazing. Why did you not mention that? I spoke to you 15 minutes ago. Why did you not mention this? And he was like, slipped my mind. At that point, I should have went, something's a bit fishy. But then he sent me another picture saying, I told him that I'd also broke your sister's leg. So he phoned her and spoke to her as well. And then sent me another photo of my sister talking to him. And it was the exact same picture of The Rock. I was like, you son of a bitch. I was more annoyed at myself than you, to be honest. I was like, he just sucked me right in and spat me out like a fucking dummy.
I don't usually do that. It's not my forte. So the guests have been amazing, and I find that over this last year. Oh, by the way, we've not done it yet. The hoodie. Who won the special edition hoodie? All right, I'm just going to take a break for a pause for the cause and show you guys this cool ass hoodie. We ran a competition to win this. This one of a kind www.jibberjabberstore.co.uk. It's not on there, but you can go there to buy our other apparel. Like I said, this Jibber Jabber 100 episode. Every time we hit another 100, so there will be one for the 200th episode also, right?
That's really sexy and white, isn't it?
Mate, it's actually really class, right? And Heather, right? So basically, we came up with this idea. Heather designed it, class looking thing, and the competition was guess the celebrities, name them, share, and like to win this hoodie.
I couldn't even do it. I could get the first two, and I was like, I don't know.
Aye, same. Any road. Those who got it correct were entered in a raffle. And I know that Heather sent this to me via Facebook, and I'm just going to play it here. I think you can, Heather, I do believe you uploaded this to the official Facebook page where people can see this. So I'm going to go ahead and have a look at it here. Drawing this now, folks. Good luck. I mean, it's not live, I suppose, but you can't see it anyway. Okay, the draw is going. Is it? 3-Bit Games. I'm going to let the music be heard here. In fact, I better know in case it's copyright.
Sorry, we're not going to make money off this video anyway.
No,
That's
absolutely
cool.
not. This is a hangout. It's not really a proper episode. Here we go. And the winner is
Kevin Wells.
right. Lauren Wells.
Oh, you're joking.
Lauren Wells. I'm scared to put my phone up there in case it.
Oh man.
No way. It looks like I've got a new hoodie.
So what size are you on? I'm an extra large man.
Fuck you saying, I'm the extra larger prick. Well, there we go, guys. You got to be in it to win it. Huge thanks to Heather for putting that together, guys. Before we get back, I'm a poet and I don't even know it, J-Mac. You know this. Before we go back into the story of the Jibber Jabber and all that cool stuff, I do want to mention this. J-Mac and I, we screenshot stuff all the time that we see on social media, and we're like, "Hey, this kind of sucks," or whatever, and we laugh about it. He sent me a picture that someone had made of Connor McLeod of the Clan McLeod in the movie Highlander, right? And when he sent it to me, basically laughing, going, "That's pish." I was like, "Mate, that's you. That's not Connor McLeod. That's you." So, ladies and gentlemen, tell us in the comments, is this J-Mac? That's so you. That is so you.
It does have a bit of me about it. Here's the interesting thing, though. I actually am of the Clan McLeod.
Well, there you go. Mate, look at that. It's Highlander.
Thing is, I couldn't.
Mate, that is you. That's you with your son's hair.
Apparently there can be only two.
Mate, I think I've actually got a picture of you on my phone with hair like that. Because what happens is I'll see a picture of you where you look not like yourself, and I'm like, I have to take this. I have to keep this for reasons.
Oh, great. I'm looking forward to this. Like,
so there you are. There's all the cool stuff. So where were we before?
These headphones are fucking massive.
let's just take a moment to appreciate the size of his headphones. Look at that, man. It's like somebody's put a handle on the top of your head to pick you up.
It's like somebody's about to win me.
God dang. Oh man. So so
all right, double prizes.
We finish up with Glasgow Film and Comic Con, and I think that's the only one we really done, because the year after I think we were going to do it, but it just didn't seem. We had creative differences. By that I mean there was nobody there that we wanted to speak to. Something like that, something along the lines of that. And we thought there's no point going there to kind of not. If we're not enthusiastic about it, then it's not the right thing to do. I always believe that. So that was cool. So fast forward a wee bit, and it was actually you that brought to my attention this convention that was down in Manchester that had a lot of really cool people. And by the way, I'm going to say this, that for me so far has been so hard to top. And I know that Seb wasn't there. We had Connor Black there with us, right? Great guy. I know that it wasn't like we've done better at conventions since, but there was something magical for the first time. I was all traveling down to Manchester, sharing hotels, and just the experience that, like, and this is how far that I'll go to say this is how such a good time I had. That see if when you actually die and you play all the things back throughout your life that are highlights in your life, that's definitely going to be part of it. Not one part of that was not a great time in any case, because we were there, we were experiencing something for the very first time, like on a bigger level. We had such a confidence after doing the Glasgow Film and Comic Con, and after reviewing our own footage.
Yep.
We had such a confidence that when we went down there this time, it was go time, and we stepped it up. We really stepped up. But just even the smell of the BEC arena, that arena smell, right? The cast that were there, the actors, the people we met, just for me, like, that's probably one of my favorite times of ever doing this podcast. We got to travel, we got to have fun. It felt like, you know, when you think about all your friends and you went out to play for the very last time and no one knew it.
Yeah.
It felt like I was out to play again.
I think for me, like looking back on it, I was kind of really thrown in at the deep end a little bit with the first interview we did there, because I was thrown in to interview Nick Maley, who is the guy
Doesn't like
who
to chat.
Thank fuck you like to chat, because it made it a lot easier for me. But he's the guy who built Yoda for the original Star Wars movies. Now that, for me, it wasn't as big a deal as it would have been for a lot of people, because I'm not the biggest Star Wars person. But Kevin had you were interviewing Spencer Wilding, so I was interviewing Nick Maley. That's just how it worked out. But it was a great conversation, and it kind of opened my eyes to almost the importance of what we're doing and trying to get stories out there. And speaking of him, looking back on it, I actually have much fonder memories looking back on it than I did at the time of doing it. It's one of the weird ones, but it was a great time. The whole experience was amazing. Everything about it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and that's if you see a lot of our promotional stuff, you see Jordan licks his fingers and closes out the candle. That's what happened. First time experience in the Cantina Bar. And if anybody watching this has never been to a Monopoly event, you need to go to them. They just, as far as like comic conventions go, they really step up. They raise the bar on what that is. Also, Heather Dow in the comment section says, if you order something in the next 24 hours, use the code JJ15 off 2021 to get 15% off your first order. Head over there after the show at www.jabberjabberstore.co.uk. There we go. There's a sale on, lads. Get on in there and get yourself a t-shirt, man. Get a couple of t-shirts.
It's a nice, easy code to remember as well. So,
what was that? JJ15 off 2021. Very easy. Jibber Jabber, 15 off, 15%, and we're in the year 2021. Go get it, lads. Go get it. So we've done a few Monopoly events now. We've been Manchester several times, and as Heather alluded to here in the comment section, she says that hotel B&B was hilarious. J-Mac, I'll let you tell the B&B story for anyone that's not heard it.
Well, there's actually two. Like both times we went to Manchester, we had some funny hotel experiences. But the very, very first one was when I had read the reviews, and I'd booked the hotel because it was a good price. I then subsequently read a lot of the reviews of the hotel, and was almost tempted to just pay money out of my own pocket for us to go and stay at a Premier Inn or something, because it sounded like it was just going to be a hostel style nightmare, right? So, but Kev, he talked me out of it. He's like, "No, come on, man, it'll add to the experience." And I told him what the reviews said and how much of a shithole this place was supposed to be. Blah 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 blah. So we get down there and we arrive. We walk into the reception, and it's not the best, but it's not that bad on first impression. So as I'm checking in under the Jibber Jabber podcast banner, Kevin, standing right behind me, says, "Jordan, you said this place was a shithole. It's not that bad, eh?" At which point, I think I went pretty fucking red. It was one of the most embarrassing moments in my life. Get turned to that person that was behind the reception was the owner. So it just makes it all the better. All the better. You say this place was a shithole, it's all right, eh?
But mate.
Whenever you go to stay in a hotel that's attached to a kebab house, you just never know what you're going to get.
But mate, we walked round the corner to our room, right? And the door had been repaired after it had clearly been kicked in. No way, man. Right, here's the thing.
Can I just say something funny about that? We kept all of our expensive equipment in the car outside overnight because it felt safer than the hotel room.
While we're on the hotel room, right, we'll kind of talk a bit about our travel experiences and our future travel experiences. The fact that the door had been repaired because it'd clearly been battered, right, did make it Mate, somebody had clearly broken into that room and they're like, yeah, this is useful tonight. We're like, ta. Now, for the record, we're at the point now as a podcast, right? We're at the point where everyone said we wouldn't be, where, you'll never make money. We're actually making enough money to fund these trips now around the UK. So if we wanted to, we could book up in a really, really nice place the next time we travel, which will be probably October, right? And we're still not gonna. We're absolutely no gonna. We have to find the biggest shithole and stay there because it's just got so much character. There's so much fun to it. Now,
And this will be the podcast that the police look at when we all get murdered.
Right. So fast forward to like the year after that, and again, I think there's something magical about when we travel to Manchester, and I can't wait to do it again.
Mm-hmm.
But that last time we went down for the love of horror.
Yeah, that was something else.
Which was upped our game yet again, right? And so it's you, myself, and Seb. It was just the three of us, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So this time there was less people, right? It was us that wanted to go down and do the job. And I said to Seb, I was like, mate, I says, now we'd been told prior, because the way it worked is the year previous we were at For Love of Sci-Fi, and we were in a room and they brought all these guests in and they sat them down and we had a press conference. We were sitting there with Lou Ferrigno, right? Nick Maley, Spencer Weldon, the cast of Stranger Things. There were some heavy hitters in that room. And we're sitting there.
The Ghostbusters guy's name?
Oh, Ray Parker Jr., mate. Ray Parker Jr., right? Yeah, we got to see that stuff live. So we're sitting there with these really cool people, interviewing them. And there's a lot of people in there, press, right? A lot of folk like us. And they come in with their and mind at the time, I'm like, I'm calling these bastards out. And he's like, don't do it, Kev, man. Don't do it, you'll get us. I'm like, fucking get off us, man. I'm telling them. Right? But they were very much like, very look at me, and with our wee pocket iPhone gadgets like this. So, and the questions they asked were arsey, very arsey kind of questions. I'm like, these aren't fans, these are here for a reason. Anyway, so the guys at Monopoly, Amy, Andy, and all the people that work really hard to make it what it is, set this press conference up for us in the hope that we would then contribute content to them after the show, right? This is the agreement. We do this for you. You give us these opportunities, right? And that's how every opportunity should be. That's how every agreement should be. You and I, like us, we were the only ones to put together any kind of packaged content and give back to the company. Everyone else came and they farmed it. They got to meet the actors. They got to do all these cool things, but for their own outlets. Right. So I had a call before we went down to For the Love of Horror with Amy from Monopoly. And she's the person you need to get. You need to talk to her. She's, she deals with all that kind of cool stuff. And she was like, I can give you these passes and you can come down and all that, but like, I'm a bit miffed and we're cancelling all. They basically took away all of what was there previously. And she says, so you can still come down, but we're not doing any celebrity interviews. But we would like to see what you could do for us. And if you are going to come down, we're going to do this as an exception. Bear in mind, we were the only people down there as press, right? Look around, there was no one else there. So she was like, if you're going to do this, I really want to see the effort because everybody shat on us last year. And I was like, well, we didn't. We put the full thing together. You can still see it now. We absolutely didn't. We gave back. We went down to For the Love of Horror. We upped our game and we gave back, therefore reinstalling that trust with Monopoly events. So then we were invited to Comic-Con Scotland. And at that point, again, it was still kind of the same thing. But because of the work we put in over those two events, we now have a better understanding with each other. Like, you can trust us. We're not the kind of people that go, we're always about giving before we ever take. When we have a cool guest on the podcast and stuff, it's all about them. It's like, what can we do for you? Of course, it might be cool that we get the views, because that'll help us grow in the long run. But that's really not what the heart of this show is. The heart of this show is, man, can you believe we just done that, man? That was so class. And we can watch it and go, that was class, right? Yeah. And at the end of the day, if I was to get hit by a bus tomorrow, right? Anyone that ever liked me or wants to remember me can come to this podcast and see every aspect of my personality through this, right? That's the main thing for us, and that's kind of the story as to why kind of when we went from For the Love of Sci-Fi getting all these big guests to not so much getting them, it was a breakdown in trust, and it wasn't our fault, but we managed to repair that because of other people. And I think that's the way you've got to approach. If you're ever going to do anything, don't lead with how does this work for me. Never lead with that ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean we have kind of met other people that are kind of doing a similar thing to us, and they are kind of they've definitely presented as being all about, nah, I'm not doing anything for free. Who do they think they are, sort of thing. But you always get it back in time. Karma comes around, and it's been working for us so far. We were so close to getting to have a one-on-one interview in a hotel room with Bolo Young. Now, there might be some of you watching this, if anybody is, that don't know who Bolo Young is, but Bolo Young is one of the scariest bad guys to ever grace the screens in China and the US, anywhere. My voice has went funny. Hear that? Excuse me very much. Not the COVID. And we were so close to having that opportunity simply because of basically being able to just say, you know what? Yeah, well, fuck it, we'll do it. We'll do things. I'll scratch your back, you scratch mine, and eventually we both get our back scratched by somebody else.
It's not even that. We don't even. They say, "Hey, can you scratch our back?" And we go, "Okay." It's not even so much that we say, "You scratch ours," but the understanding is there, though. When we do something for someone, and we always do, we have for so many different people, that when we do something, it's more our business card. Yeah. Here's what we're about, and it's not like, I don't believe value has to always be monetary. Like, you don't always have to have money to prove. Like, for me, we spoke to David Paulus, right? The best Thanksgiving ever. Great independent movie, right?
That was also one of the best interviews ever, man. That guy's a fucking laugh.
Right. Now here's the thing.
I still text him. I just text him funnies.
Right. And here's my point though, right? We had him on the show to talk about his movie, and in return we got a really cool friendship.
Yep.
Now if he was like, I'll pay you £20 or $20 to come on your show, I would rather have his friendship than the £20 that I will never like really even, it will never make any kind of dent in my life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think it depends on what you truly value as how you'll kind of go about your ways and how you'll kind of leave your mark on people. And I think
that reminds me, we really need to speak to Jay Seals. we need to organize that interview.
There's a plan for that. David is working on something, and when that something comes to fruition, then Jay and David will be here to talk about that very thing that may just be announced here on the show.
Oh, cool.
This is what happens when you don't pay attention to the emails, Jay. Hey, I've told you this. I've told you.
No. See, this is the problem. We both have access to the email account, but what happens is as soon as one of us opens an email, the other person, the notification disappears, so you've no reason to open it. So, and it happens. I've done it to you. I've texted you on the days, like the day of an interview we've got with somebody, and be like, by the way, have you told him about such and such? And you're like, no, when did he ask for that? I'm like, yesterday. Sorry, man. So I've just tried to stop opening emails so that Kevin always gets them. But obviously, this is a wee conversation that's been happening, and I haven't been privy to.
Mate, I've told you this.
Kevin, I'll speak to you about this after class.
I've told you this like 3 times. But yeah, okay. So it'll be really cool. So the aspect of this show that we really love is getting to meet interesting people. Look at the friends that we've actually gained from doing this. Look at the amount of really cool people that we have access to chat to now on a friendly.
On that note, he might be watching just now, he might not, but Todd Surprise, who is basically, he contributed to the video that's done so well for us. and he's just a normal guy. He's not a celebrity. He's just a normal guy that had a really amazing story to tell, and endlessly thankful to Todd for that. And that's him and John Edmonds as well. It's these conversations are the things that keep the podcast going, and we're just looking to meet interesting people. You know, if you've got a good story to tell, we want to speak to you. You don't have to be famous, but that. Thanks, Todd. You've done a lot for us.
And by the way, if you ever want us on your podcast, ask us. We'll come. I've never really.
If you ask us, we will come.
I've done one. I went on one other person's podcast ever, and that was Jeff Nicholson. You know, the guy that came on to talk about, and we done the Ready Player One, and I've not finished Ready Player Two because it's kind of gash, and I don't think he's finished it either. But that's a conversation we need to have again. But I would like to go on other people's podcasts, bit of a double promotion. But no one's ever asked me. It's probably because they don't want me on their podcast.
Who'd have thunk it? Who'd have thunk it?
So we went to For the Love of Horror. We met a lot of cool people there. You all know the G. Tom Max story. We're now, balls deep in his documentary.
What's funny is he has actually texted us during this. Even that's cool. Do you know what I mean? The guy that wrote "Cry Little Sister" for the Lost Boys is just texting us randomly just to say Happy Father's Day, guys. This would never be happening if it wasn't for the fact that Kevin saw some magic in the Kevin and J-Mac combination.
Mate, but here, right? Without having to kind of ramble on too much about, because we've pretty much gone through our story so far, right? But how right have I been about everything?
Mate, what's that behind you? Is that your own horn? Why don't you toot it?
I like the fact that, and I don't think I was right because it happened chance. It's a lot of hard work that's gone into it. But what I really love is setting out to do stuff and then seeing it happen, and then taking a step, looking at J-Mac and saying, "Mind that time in Gaia, man. Mind I said this with that, man. Look, it's happening, man."
Every damn time. Every damn time.
But it's class, and I think we're gonna keep pushing forward. This is like every year that we've done this is
keep
really
moving forward.
It is every year that we've done this, it's taken a step up, and I just can't see it slowing down. Especially now that we've got Big Heed, is what Heather Dow said. Especially now we've got Heather Dowfer kind of working on our team and becoming our own part of the Jibber Jabber podcast, man. She's a jack of all trades. Also, if anybody out there has their own podcast, has their own aspiration to have a store, give us a shout because I know someone. I know someone that can.
She's probably more of a Jill of all trades, to be honest, as opposed to a Jack. For fuck's sake.
So J-Mac, before we kind of wrap the show up a bit, what have been your highlights of doing this Jibber Jabber podcast? What kind of stuff did you never see happening, and it's happened, and you've been like, wait a minute?
Basically, all of it. I mean, I wouldn't have thought I was the type of person to have the confidence to sit in front of a microphone live on a kind of weekly basis and just talk utter balls, but lo and behold, here I am. Getting to speak to a personal highlight for me was speaking to John Edmonds. I mean, his story is fucking bananas. He might well be bananas, but
you also farted when he was telling you about his dead friend.
You need to find that. Actually, you have to find that. In fact, I'm going to let you just do that now, because remember the timestamp. Somebody has commented the timestamp as to the moment I farted during that interview, and what Kevin was nice enough to do. For those of you who don't know. What was happening? John Edmonds owns and runs a Stardust Ranch in Arizona, and he allegedly has been plagued by basically alien invasion, for want of a better term. He's never been abducted or anything like that, but he seems to that property seems to attract alien attention. So he apparently, allegedly, has killed some extraterrestrial beings using a samurai sword. And honestly, it sounds crazy, but the guy tells a good fucking story, right? Anyway, during this conversation, he mentions a character. He mentions a man that he knew, and I remember hearing him in a previous podcast mentioning this guy and the fact that he died suddenly after dealing with John. And I brought this up on the podcast. I said, "So John, I understand that Dr. Levingood, I even remember his name because I've watched the clip so often because it's fucking hilarious." I said, "Did he die suddenly?" And he's like, "Yes." I said, and his wife as well? And he's like, "Yep." Then he starts talking. He's like, "It was a good year or so of kind of conversation." And then I just let go of... It sounds on the podcast. It sounds on the podcast because it's been amplified by this guy. It sounds like the ultimate ripper of a fart. It was actually not a quiet one, but you could have skipped over it if Kevin didn't burst out laughing on camera at it. But it is there. Have you found it?
Yeah. This is kind of how it works, though, right? So he always farts on the show, right? And before we were a video podcast, we could see each other and we'd be recording it for MP3 via the microphones, and he'd lean forward and go, right?
That's what I mean, I'm going to do it now, but I've got it down to a T, right? I know I can fart right now. All I need to do is press mute, and I can fart, and nobody will even know. Watch.
Right. Now,
Can you even tell?
I want everyone, right, that's watching at home right now, right, to watch very closely to this clip I'm going to play, right? So I'm going to just give you a quick briefing of what happens here, and then I want you to watch it. So he farts. Now, I know his body language. If he was uncomfortable right now, right, and wanted me to wrap the show up, I would know. I would know to do it just from looking at him. So I know where we're at, right? And he probably does the same with me, based on our body language, based on everything. Now, when he asked that question, and I seen him leaning, I goes, that's a fart lean. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I was shocked because this was a serious interview for us. I was so shocked. Now, when he farted, I started kind of laughing, right? And then tried to keep it. And now what you need to pay attention to in this video is J-Mac and I having eye contact with each other and trying so hard not to do this. We are trying so hard, and it was so hard. And if you see me do this, that's me, like,
that's the best part. When you can go like this, you
go, right? And if I drink, it's because I'm like, stop, because he's talking about his dead friends, right? And Jordan's just shat. They've not acknowledged any of it, right? They can see us. We can't see them because then they've got the cameras turned on, so they can see us, right? So I'm going to share this now. We're going to watch this. Oh, here we go, man. Here we go. Right, share audio. Just give me the thumbs up if you can hear it, J-Mac, all right? Can I hear that?
Nope.
Aye, right. But I pressed the thing that said I was to press it.
I think it automatically maybe reverts back every time you hit play, and you always have to do it twice. That's what it seems like.
Let's see. Here we go. I bet you it'll work now, right? Are we working?
Yep.
Right. Here we go, ladies and gents. Here we go. Look how different we were and everything.
Also, look how much effort Kev puts into not laughing his fucking head off as soon as I farted.
Here we go.
Die suddenly?
Yes.
And then his
it was
wife as well. Is that right?
Yep. That's very true. About a year. I mean, there was a good year involved here where he and I were communicating off and on. And, you know, the idea is that he went ahead and he sent out the samples to various different universities. I mean, you know, big name universities. And if you didn't tell him what it was, you know, he just sent it out as an unknown substance, and he asked them to identify it. And it kept coming back with the same information, and that was that they could not identify what it was, and that it was, you know, something that was capable of having, you know, the quality.
Look how much both of us are like, oh.
You're in physical pain. keep playing. I want to see
an animal or being, you know, some kind of organic being, but yet at the same time it also had the qualities of being a plant. And so, DNA just didn't add up. And so they were fascinated. Everybody was fascinated. And, we were going to go ahead and hold a press conference and have, the big world, wide world, press conference and expose the whole thing and put it out there because at one point, a letter came back saying you have proof positive that ET or extraterrestrial are visiting it. And that, these samples are in no way, shape, or form proof positive.
So that was, it was confirmed at that point that this is extraterrestrial.
Well, you just sent in it because I didn't hear a word he said.
Origin
material. So,
and then shortly after that, they found him dead in his lab, and then the next day they
stop
found
laughing.
him in the lab.
What did they reckon? What was like the cause of death?
I think that's it. That's it.
The thing is, though, there's a part where he
I don't
actually
remember to
makes
tell
us
you the-
laugh, and I over laugh at what he said because I'm letting the laugh. I'm like, he says something like minutely funny, and I'm like,
Just letting it all go.
It was
I
that,
don't know if
that
it's
it
in this
was
clip.
Still laughing.
natural causes or something absurd like that.
That was him. The wife was.
I'm drinking to stop myself laughing.
Oh, there's that Bruce guy.
Aye, that Bruce guy.
That added some real value to the conversation.
Aye.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
It
then his
was
wife as well. Just watch Kevin. Don't watch me. Watch Kevin.
about a year. I mean, there was a good year involved here where he and I were communicating off and on. And, you know, the idea was he went ahead and he sent out the samples to various different universities. I mean, you know, big
instant.
And of course, he didn't tell them what it was. You know, he just sent it out as an unknown substance, and he asked for them to identify it. And it kept coming back with the same information, and that was that they could not identify what it was, and that it was, you know, something that was capable.
I'm in agony as well, by the way.
I know. You keep shuffling and putting your head in, but ever so often you go like that. And you look up at me.
You know, the qualities of being
and that's when
an
I
animal.
laugh.
Look, I'm laughing there. Like I'm just laughing.
Being, but yet at the same time, it also had the qualities of being a plant. And so, you know, the DNA just didn't add up.
We are telepathically communicating with each other right there. You're like, I just farted, and I'm like, I can't hold my shit in, and you're looking up with me neither.
It's like, clearly I can't.
What made? In fact, let's strip this back a little bit. What made you go? I'm going to fart right now in the middle of this. What made you decide that that was the right thing to do?
You know how you can tell by the way a fart approaches your anus how it's going to be. Now, I kind of thought it was going to be one of these ones that would go, and it just went, and I wasn't expecting it. I was not expecting it, and at that point, the thing is, it was a fact. See if you hadn't heard it. If you hadn't heard it, it would have just went away. But the fact that you heard it and you just instantly went, that's what made it so funny.
Mate, it was weird that they didn't at any point go, guys, you're all right. Because up until that point, we were so professional with
so
them.
serious. And also, I'd like you, before we go, I want you to find the clip of what you actually put out as the finished article for that audio podcast, because you amplified the fuck out of that fart. So it gets, he's like, you know, you just hear, I've
got it in a clip.
Oh, right. So this is what you actually put out to the masses. This is what went out over Spotify and Podbean and Apple Podcasts. It's even on YouTube as just the audio. But this is what he put out, and it's it doesn't leave much to the imagination. We'll put it that way.
Yeah, you did hear the
you heard it. It's very
in that clip there, yeah. Right, now tell me, can you hear this, J-Mac? Can you hear that?
No.
I'm going to
do it
contact.
twice. It's like twice every time.
What's that all about, man? What's that all about? Screen 2. Share audio. There we go. Tell me, can you hear it now?
No.
Wait a minute.
What the hell is going on, man?
Mate, we never have technical issues. Here we go. Right, ready?
Yeah, he was amazed because, Dr. Levengood had been the guy who was very involved with cattle mutilation. That was his specialty. And so, all of a sudden he had a ET to work with. And, he'd also asked me for a lot of samples from,
Great interview, by the way. Great interview.
It was.
Various different soil samples and all sorts of things. And so, it wasn't one package that I sent him. I sent him quite a few different things.
Mm-hmm. And again, this is just from what I remember. I heard you on a previous another podcast a while ago, and I think you said that did Dr. Levengood, did he die suddenly?
Here it comes.
Yes.
And then his
it was
wife as well. Is that right?
Yep, that's very true. About a year. I mean, there was a good year involved here where he and I were communicating off and on. And, the idea was that he went ahead and sent out the samples to very.
And the best it is, right? The best of it is when I initially put that full episode out, right at the start, I'm like, guys, JMac farts in this episode. If you can timestamp it in the comments section and say Jibber Jabber podcast or something, you'll get a free t-shirt by JMac, right? You're like, no, you don't. But I edited it the bit where you're like, no, you don't. So they were like, right, cool. Someone on our YouTube actually timestamps it, and I click on it, and it takes you right to the far. So you can't get a t-shirt. By the way, if that person is watching, we now have a store. Contact us, jibberjabberscotland@gmail.com, or head to our .com website, jibberjabberpodcast.com. Go to the contact part, and we'll get you hooked up with that t-shirt. Heather, no, they didn't get a t-shirt. We didn't have a store girl at the time.
We had no intention of giving them a t-shirt. Kev just throws us into shit that we don't expect to ever have to fulfill.
We will give them a t-shirt. Mate, exactly. Hey, do you know what's a really funny thing? Really funny thing is, mind we used to run competitions. And you do it folk would contact us and be like, did anybody win that? And I'd just delete.
Yeah, that I think technically that's fraud.
But we never got any money from it.
That's true. That's true.
It was just like, let's do this, and then we just forget to do it. We were so unprofessional back then. But it was class, and I've had a class run of this podcast. I can easily say that between family life, working, and this podcast is my life. That is it. Like, that is all I do. If I'm not working, hanging out with my family, I am doing podcast stuff all the time. It just never stops. But the really cool thing about it is the amount of work that does go into this isn't something I feel is a chore. I look forward to it. I wake up hungry to get stuck in. I really enjoy it, and I love it. And that, for everyone, and this is kind of how we'll probably end this show, talking about the values of doing the things that you love, right? The whole purpose to this is to create something that we love, that's a hobby. And if, like, we always got into this, it'll be a hobby, but there could be more to it. Let's see how it goes, right? I'd be lying if I said, I can't see it happening. I've always seen it from the beginning, and I still see it. I still see this becoming something that we could do full time. And all you need to do is look at the fact that we've been a podcast coming on 3 years now, and we're monetized. We make money doing this when we didn't before. And that kind of speaks to the fact that, if we've been able to do that with no advertisements, no money for ad revenue, no money for advertising, and we've done it purely consistently out of the love of doing it. I think that kind of speaks to how we will make that happen, and I truly believe it will happen. This will become something where it's like, well, look at this. We actually can leave our actual 9 to 5. This can be our thing, and I think it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, just need to keep plugging away at it. and that's it. Like, and nothing ever happens without effort except winning the lottery. Winning the lottery is the only thing that is pretty much effortless.
But you're statistically, you're not going to do that. It does happen. Someone does fall down a well and find gold. That does happen, but it doesn't happen for everyone. And I always think, do what you love. This is kind of the way the world works now. We live in a society where you can make money doing anything. You can become rich doing anything. You can survive doing anything. So why not pick the thing you love most and do it? I see 5-10 years ago, did I ever think Kev the podcaster? Never entered my head at all. This kind of just became a thing, and I've really loved it, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, also, obviously, we've got the documentary that's happening in the background somewhere. COVID's kind of screwing us on that, and we've obviously got the wee feature that we're working on as well, that's really exciting for me as well. Always wanted to be in or make a film, so this way I get to do both, which is amazing.
It's going to be, and we do little productions here or there. Like I say, we're a jack of all trades, and if you watch that Don't Quit the Jibber Jabber, which was a mini documentary that was made on us by Todd, who is an extended member of what we do. There's people like Seb, Todd, Scott Kempick that they are part of what we do. They're not full time on what we do, but they are very much a part of our Jibber Jabber family. And we do little productions, and we will be doing more. As you've seen recently, the Braveheart, which was basically you just saying, yeah, I'll dress Kevin up in a wig, get my fake horse. And I was like, all right. And then you were like, I've just ordered the stuff. I was like, well, I take it that's happening then. so
it's great, man. It's so funny to watch. The funniest things, it's like the wee things in it. It's like the random wee trots between positions that are just not needed. They just make it really funny.
William Wallace trotted up and down. So it's kind of like that, isn't it?
William Wallace.
Which, by the way, that was a good for the amount of time it took us. That was actually really well shot. It was actually really decent.
Yeah, we were only shooting for about 2 hours at the most. So.
And you can actually go to Bathgate Cinema, and you'll see that on the big screen. That advert actually comes on the big screen before the movies.
I need to go and see that.
I can't wait. I'll be there this coming week to go see The Father, which you can catch us on Thursday for the Box Office Banter, which is a show we love to do. Also, there is a new show coming. I will tell you that, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek here. Right, there will be a new Jibber Jabber show coming fairly soon. It kind of took a back seat when we started the Box Office Banter, but it is on its way and it will happen. And it is going to be a game show style of a podcast, one where you can interact, and it will be called
Battleflex. It's such a cool name. Who came up with that one again?
Did you come up with that? Did you?
I did. I did. That was mine. That was my brainchild about 2.5 years ago.
Maybe. I'm gonna. Oh no, I've gone out of focus again. I'm probably gonna die. But it has been something that we planned on doing, even when it was back as Kevin Whatever. That has been something that we always kind of did plan to do, and it just seems the stars are aligned. Everything's in the right place for us to do it now. But keep your eye open for that. It's actually going to be amazing. A lot of the stuff's already been made and put together for it. It's just a case of when is the right time to do it.
Yeah,
I'm just trying to get myself in focus here. Maybe if I bring my face right up to the camera. Like, why is my camera being such?
It's being a dick, man.
Yeah, it is. So, J-Mac, what would you like to see happen in the next year for the Jibber Jabber podcast? What do you see happening, and where would you like to see it happening?
In the next year, I want to see obviously a lot more of the cinema events. I want to see a lot more of them. Yeah. I think it's something that we can keep going, I'm sure. And on top of that, more conventions with actually full access to everybody that's there. I think that's definitely on the cards. I want to get this film made. I want to get this wee horror film done. I don't think we've ever actually announced it, but we're going to try and make a wee horror film just for shits and giggles. So that's what I'm excited for.
Yeah, it is going to be cool. All these cool stuff. I'm getting a notification telling me that my signal is unstable. I am plugged in via Ethernet. I don't think it's unstable, but I think we should wrap the show up before it kicks me off again. We have to come back just to say goodbye. And I'm sitting here all out of focus. Hold on.
He's gone again. He's gone. Oh no.
Still out of focus. So thanks everyone who has stuck with us watching the show tonight. This really isn't a podcast show as per se. It's more of a hangout for us to kind of shoot the breeze with you guys and shoot the breeze with each other. It's 100 episodes of this podcast. And as far as a formatted show goes, this hasn't quite been that, but that's not what it was ever intended to be. So this is exactly what it was intended to be. So I've really enjoyed kind of sitting here and celebrating that with you guys. What about you, J-Mac?
Yeah, there's a lot more that we could have gone into, but we just don't have the time because bed is calling. But yeah, it's been a great 100 episodes. Here's to another 100, 200, 300. I don't care how many more. Let's just keep them coming. Keep them going.
Absolutely. And if you guys see us out and about, come up, say hi. You'll see us at the conventions all throughout the year. If you've got somewhere you'd like us to be, give us a shout. We're going to really up our game when the COVID doors close and the world's doors open back up. You're going to see us at a lot more things. You're going to see us on a lot more stuff. We're here to stay. Heather Dow, fun time, guys. Thanks very much. Thank you. She's been an absolute,
thank you very much.
She's been an absolute supporter from the beginning. So she's definitely part of the JJF, the Jibber Jabber family. Remember, guys, you can always go to
jibberjabberpodcast.com.
Aye, you can contact us there. If you ever want us to do a show, you think you'd be cool enough to come on and do a show with us, you think you've got interesting stuff you'd like to talk about.
That's it. If you've got a good story, if you've had if you've lived in a haunted house, or you've known somebody that's lost a limb and fucking grew it back, whatever it is, doesn't matter how silly you might think it is, bring it on. We'll talk to you about it and we'll keep it respectful.
Absolutely. And we always, hey, if we can do that with a guy that's samurai sword 14 different aliens and then FedExed them to his pal, you'll be all right. Heather Dow does say, remember the 15% off if you order in the next 24 hours to celebrate the 100th episode of Jibber Jabber Podcast. We're not saying our t-shirts are all that, but we are, because they are all that. So go buy one. Why not? The money doesn't essentially, I mean, the money pays for itself. So, I mean, it's a service that we and Heather are providing for you guys. If you want it, it literally just pays for itself. So go get one.
That's it. And that's the show. It's been a blast again. What about someone that chopped a thumb off in a school? Yep, I actually do intend on getting our own father on the podcast at some point, just to tell his story, because my dad's had a really good story. I have spoken to him about it. It kind of took a bit of a sideline for a while, but it's something I want to do at some point because he's had a really interesting life and it's a good story to hear. Anyway, that's us. That's the end of the show.
That's it.
That's it. So jibberjabberstore.co.uk, jibberjabberpodcast.com. You know where we are. Let's just keep the ball rolling, keep listening, keep watching, do everything that you've been doing, and tell your friends. That's one thing we forget to mention this. If you like watching our show and listening to the podcast, tell your pals about it. Get them to watch it. If they don't like it, tell them to fuck off. Nice to see you again. And we'll catch you on episode 101.
And again, a huge thank you to Scott Kempick and Andy Pillen for the really cool intro. What I am going to play now is, you know, that I spent my time making a wee rock song as our new intro before we got that really cool new intro. It's now going to be our outro. So before that comes up, I'm just going to play a wee something that kind of puts in perspective our last couple of years. And then the show will end. So thank you everybody for joining us this week. Back to the proper shows. Coming Thursday, we've got the box office banter with The Father. We'll be reviewing that, spoiler free. And then the week after that, we will be back with it's a cool guest, and we will announce it via social media for you guys to see. But that one is going to be a fucking class one. So we're looking forward to that. So again, thank you, everyone. Thanks for supporting us then, now, and always. Wait a second. We've got two comments. Bet there will be Jay Fart in there. Class. So on that note, enjoy the rest of your night, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week, and we will see you on the flip side.